Hey guys, Andy here, and today we're going to get into my eyeshadow inventory. This is day number 12 in the 12 days of inventory. This was created over on Instagram by _Kate's collection, and I will leave the infographic here of what the days were supposed to be. I am very far behind, and I did switch the days around because I wanted eyeshadow palettes to be the last day. I did see this done over here on YouTube first by Dub's Beauty Diary, so I will also leave her channel in the description box down below. She completed her inventory back in December when this was supposed to be done, so please go check out her channel if you want to go see her inventory. And I am excited to show you guys my eyeshadow palettes. What I'm wearing will be listed in the description box, and if you like unboxings, project panty content with just a little bit of horror sprinkled in, please consider subscribing, as I would love to have you here. And let's just go ahead and get on into my eyeshadow palette collection. Alright, so we're hands today, and you get to see this is my desk, and my little duck that sits on my mic, and we're just going to do my palette inventory, and I figured I would show you guys the palettes like this, and we will do some swatches if necessary, because I'm sure there are going to be some things that I want to swatch, but this is how we're going to get started. So we're just going to go one by one. This is the ColourPop Baby Got Peach palette. This is what it looks like as color story-wise. And if you watched my color pan video that I posted last week, then you will know that I am going to go ahead and declutter this palette. I bought it specifically for this glitter shade, Hungry Ghost, and that's why I've kept it this whole time. I don't like these shades. I don't like that it doesn't go deep enough. I think that these shades just don't suit my skin tone very well. They just don't look great on me. The shimmers aren't anything to write home about. Like, they're fine it's a good ColourPop formula. But this palette has never wowed me, and I've always kept it for this shade. But I have a Profusion single glitter that is literally the same shade as this. So I do not need to keep this whole palette for this glitter when I have a single glitter that does the same thing. And I did think about keeping this because peach is the Pantone color of the year, but I'm not going to use it for anything. So we're going to start off with one declutter. Now I'm just going to start by pulling out the couple palettes that I have in projects currently. So let's get the elephant out of the room. All of my Jeffree Star palettes I did buy secondhand. I got them all either from friends or I bought them off of Mercari. Do with that with what you will. I do like the formula. It is what it is. That being said, this is the Weirdo palette. I will be keeping all of my Jeffree Star palettes, I believe. There might be one that I'm going to declutter, and we'll get to that, but I'm keeping this palette. Specifically, DW wanted to see my silvers. This is a beautiful silver. It's probably my second favorite silver in my collection. So I don't know if you have this specific palette, because I know you have a lot of Jeffree Star, but I really like this silver. We'll get to more silvers eventually, but that one I'm keeping, of course. I have 3 palettes here that are also on my desk that are in projects. This is the St. Angel Centers with Ice Cream Beauty, the Friendsgiving palette. Open. And this is just a lovely formula. This is my first palette from the brand, and I definitely want to try more. I have this green shade in a project, and I just think that it's beautiful. These shimmers are stunning. I do think that this green is a little out of place in the palette, personally, for the color story, but this palette is stunning. Absolutely a keep. Then 2 more from ColourPop that I will be keeping. This is the Wine and Only palette. I do love how smoky this one goes, and I like ColourPop sequin shades. I feel like I'm in the minority. These are the mattes with glitter. I really like them. I think that they're really pretty on the eyes, but I love this color story, so That one is a keep. Mine is kind of broken though, and I don't know why. Like, this palette was never dropped, and it didn't have anything sat on top of it, but as you can see, it's like bowed, and it doesn't close all the way, but so I'm sure that will do something to the quality eventually, but it currently is working fine. And then I have the Menage a Moi, which looks like this. And then I'm also in the minority because I love ColourPop's pressed glitters. I love pressed glitters in general, but I think ColourPop has a really great formula. So I love this palette. It gives me the same vibes that my Huda Beauty New Nudes palette gave me. So this is definitely a keep. Two more palettes that are in projects are both from Jeffree Star. This is the Alien palette, which looks like this. This, of course, is a keep. I just rolled that into a project. And I have my Battleship project palette. This is the Blue Blood palette. And of course I will be keeping this because it's in a project. Not that I have to keep things that are in projects, but I'm a little more inclined to. I have this Delancey quad that I do technically have as a palette in my collection. This is listed in my palettes and not as singles, even though it sits in my single basket. I don't know. But I will be keeping this. I love everything I've tried from Delancey, and this is probably my favorite thing. So, and then I will show you my bins, because I have two giant eyeshadow bins. So let me pull them out. I lift you guys up a little bit to properly show you the giant bin, but this is bin number 1, so I'm going to put it off to the side, and we're just going to pull a couple out at a time. Alright, so we're going to be starting with a bunch of palettes that are new to me that I just got in December. So we have the Bad Side Zodiac collection from Melt. So this is the air sign. We have the earth signs, the fire signs, and the water signs. I have not even tried these palettes yet, so I am keeping this. I got the whole collection, so those are all staying. Then also from Melt, because I picked these up on Black Friday, I got the Muerte palette, which looks like this. We'll be keeping that. I have a bunch here from Glamlight that I got. I put in a Glamlight order in October, and then I also have picked up a bunch of things from Marshall's. So we have the second Hershey's collab that they did, and this is the Cookies and Cream palette. So I haven't used that yet. That is a keep. If I haven't used the palette yet, or if I don't remember it, I will be keeping it to try it because I want to get some use out of it. This is the Scooby-Doo Creeps and Crawls and the Scooby-Doo Raggy. We'll be keeping those. Then we have the Glamlight Nightmare on Elm Street. This is the Freddy Krueger one, the green one. And then I have the Dream Master, the red one. Haven't tried those yet. Then I've got some big palettes here. I have this Cara Beauty. This is the Cara Duo. It's one of their pro palettes. This is the number 14, the Time Traveler. And I really like this color story. I've only used it once, and it was this top row. And I really liked it, so I'm going to keep that. My ColourPop Aurora Struck. I have not used this one yet, so we're definitely keeping that. My Profusion Main Stage palette. I have not used this yet. Definitely keeping this. My Glam Light and Michaela palette. I haven't used this yet. This was a Marshall's find. So we're keeping that. I do not have a bin to put all my keeps in, so let me move these and we'll get another batch. All right, here we got another stack. This is Violet Voss, the Berries and Cream Dreams palette. I love Violet Voss's formula, so definitely keeping that. Glam Lights Camp Crystal Lake. Haven't even tried this yet, so definitely keeping this. The Milani Gilded Flora. I remember when I tried this the one time I really liked it, and I do enjoy Milani's formula, so I want to keep that. I have from Profusion the Harvest palette, which I'm keeping. I love Profusion's formula. And I also have from Profusion the Ethereal palette, which I am keeping. This is from Amuse Beauty, and it is the Into the Jungle palette. It no longer smells like lime margaritas. When I first got this, that's what it smelled like, and I hated the smell. I do not love this color story, but I haven't really tried it. We're gonna give it a little bit of a swatch. Ooh, that's pretty. Those shades, they look nice. I don't want to just declutter it for the sake of decluttering. But for greens, I have green palettes now. Here, let's... Am I ever going to reach into this? But I mean, it is very pretty. I think for now I'm going to keep it. I don't have to declutter things if I don't want to. And it doesn't smell like margaritas now. So we're going to keep it. This is my Pan That palette for 2023. My Huda New Nudes. And I wasn't going to declutter it. Originally, I was going to declutter it at the end of 2023. And then I was like, no, I want to keep it. Because I still make beautiful looks. But literally, they're the same palette. So I think I'm going to retire my Huda Beauty New Nudes palette and declutter this, and that is okay. From Okalon, I have the Ethereal Nude. This is a dupe for the Huda Beauty Naughty Nudes palette. I haven't used this yet, so I do want to give that a try. I have the Natasha Denona Sunset palette. I'm absolutely keeping this. And from Lurella, this is the Birthday palette, which, I need to use this for Valentine's Day because this is just gorgeous. It's full of pressed glitters, so keeping all of those. So let me get another stack. All right, I went ahead and grabbed a lot of my smaller palettes. So we're going to start with my two that are newest. This is the Wild Python from Huda Beauty. I'm keeping this. Then we have the Wild Jaguar. I am keeping this. I haven't used those yet. One that I really love, this is the Uoma by Sharon C. Dreaming Quad. I really love this formula, so I will be keeping that. I just got this in my Ipsy bag. This is the Lucky Chick. Don't mind, I wrote all the shade names on a piece of paper, but it's the Daydreams 9-pan palette, and the formula actually feels really beautiful, so I do want to give that a try. Let's see. I'm not a huge fan of super small palettes, so as much as I really like this color story and the formula felt really nice, I think I can go ahead and get rid of this Beauty Vault Quad, because I just don't think I'm actually going to get use out of it. Same goes for these Cab Cosmetics. So I know I can get rid of the Deep Smoke Quad because this one didn't swatch the best. So I can get rid of that one for sure. But I think I need to cross. I'm going to hold on to this one because I have a larger Cab Cosmetics quad and I want to see if this is similar. So we're going to put this one off to the side. I do have a Lottie London Cosmetics quad. This is the mauves. And I do want to keep this because this swatched super nice and I think the color story is cute. I have two bigger ones from Natasha Denona. This is the Jubilee palette, which I really like the color story of. So we're keeping that. And then this is the Fez palette. And I also like the color story. So we're keeping those. From Estate Cosmetics, this is the Fall Edit. Let's see. Ooh. I mean, those are beautiful. I've never really tried anything from Estate Cosmetics. And I've had this, and I haven't used it. But it's cute. For now, I'm going to keep it. I haven't used it. From BH Cosmetics, this is the Lost in Los Angeles palette. I'm absolutely keeping this. And then the Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star Mini Controversy. This is the first one with the Diet Root Beer shade in the middle. I wish I had the one with the green shade, but that's neither here nor there. I will be keeping this one because I have it. So let me go ahead and grab out another stack. Alright, so first we have my 3 Makeup Revolution palettes. This is the Chilled with Cannabis Sativa. These are all the Forever Flawless palettes, so they're the tin packaging. So this is what this one looks like. Mine is cracked, but it's got 2 pressed glitters, I believe, or 2 or 3. This, I don't love the color story of anymore. Well, I love the color story. I don't love the formula on this one as much. And I have greens that are better formula elsewhere. So I am going to go ahead and declutter this one. And while we're talking about ones that I'm decluttering, this is the Ice. Yes, Forever Flawless Ice. And I said that this one, so the green one felt like a dupe of Jeffree Star's Blood Money. This is a dupe of Jeffree Star's Blue Blood. I've done videos on that, but I have Blue Blood and it's a better formula. So I no longer need this. So I will be decluttering this one. And now this one, this is the Enchanted. This is a dupe of ABH Subculture. But I really like the formula on this one. And even though I have Subculture, I do still really like this one. So I will be keeping this one Makeup Revolution palette. I have 2 here from Profusion. I have Meadow, which I will be keeping. And I will be keeping Neons, even though it upsets me that this one shimmer isn't as shimmery as they could have made it. And that these shades could have a better gradient for a neon palette, but I will keep it. Morphe. This is the 35C Everyday Chic palette, and I also wrote all of the shade names up there, so I wanted this palette for months and months and months and months and months. It went on sale, I took it in and out of my cart, and then I found it at TJ Maxx or Marshall's, one of the two. And I still haven't used it, so I'm going to be keeping it, but you are on thin ice. And it looks disgusting, but we have my ColourPop It's a Mood. Love this. It is going nowhere. My ColourPop Fade into Hue, which I like slightly less, but will be keeping it because it's a good rainbow palette. My Delancey Aurora Glow UV Blacklight palette. This was my very first dip into the brand of Delancey. As you can see, I have organically hit pan on a few of the glitters. The mattes. And the glitters, so these work under black light. The ones with the stars glow in the dark. This is on my Amazon. I link this in my link tree, and I just absolutely love this palette for, like, if you're going cosmic bowling, if I'm going out to the bar and they're having like a black light night. I love this palette. So I keep it for that fun random occasion. So let's move on to the next stack. Okay, so first we're going to start with ABH. This is Subculture, and I do really like this palette. I've had it for a while, got it from a TJ Maxx, and it's going in the keep pile. This one I won in a giveaway. This is the Wing Me Ambitious Violet, and as cute as it is, I just have better purples in my collection, and I'm just not a huge neutral wearer, so I've only swatched this. I think that I could give this to a better home. I'm going to go ahead and declutter that one. I told you how much I love Violet Voss formula. This is the Essentials 2. This was my 2022 Pan That palette. As you can see, there are no pans in it because I started it halfway through the year and didn't really know what I was doing Pan That palette-wise. So, but I still really enjoy this palette and I want to keep it. This CoverGirl True Naked That's Rad. I think that for the drugstore, this is a really good formula, personally. Let me do some swatches. Well, those aren't great, to be honest. Let me see. Let's clean finger. Let's go into this matte. Ooh, that baby's powdery. Do I need, oh, I hit the camera. I'm so sorry. Do I need this anymore? Now that I have the Aurora Struck. Honestly, I wasn't going to get rid of this, but I don't think I need this guy anymore. So that's a turn of events. I wasn't going to get rid of this, but it's gonna go because it's not swatching like it used to. And I think I have better things in that color story now. So, all right. I have from Winky Lux. This is the Latte Kitten palette. I've only gotten to use this once, and I thought it was a really nice, soft palette. So I do want to use this some more. It still very faintly smells like espresso, which I don't love, but the scent is fading. So for now, I do still want to keep this. The Beauty Creations Cali Chic palette. This is a beautiful formula, and I have kept this because it is my only super warm-toned neutral palette. But I never use it because I don't wear these kind of warm tones. And, like, it is just, let me show you, it's absolutely stunning. But I don't wear these shades. As beautiful as this palette is, and I keep it for that just in case moment of, well, what if you want to wear warm tones? That's why I've kept this palette, but I haven't worn it in the last year. And I don't think that I'm going to. And if I want to, I have warm tones sprinkled throughout other things that I don't need a palette dedicated to that. So I am going to go ahead and declutter this. But if you love warm tones, this is a beautiful formula. Next, from Beauty Bakery, this is the Breakfast in Bed palette. I love how unique this color story is, personally. I love how just desaturated these tones are, and so absolutely I'm keeping this. I actually decluttered this to a friend and missed it so much. She was like, I'm not using it, you can have it back. And I was like, thank you, I've missed it. Because if she wasn't going to let me have it back, I was going to repurchase this because I missed it. So this is not leaving. We're going to come back to this one at the end of the stack. My Milani Most Love Mattes. You will see in my collection, I have 2 all matte palettes because I am not a fan of all mattes. but Milani has a matte formula that I just absolutely adore. So, and as you can see, if I want warm tones, there are some warm tones in here. So this is my one of two all matte palettes that I will keep. My Beauty Crop Dawn Gazing palette. I got this in an ice cream beauty box, and this is an absolutely stunning. Like, it just looks so unassuming. There is the one pressed glitter, but these are just so beautiful. Very happy to have that. Cara Beauty. This was a dud for me. I got this at a TJ Maxx, so it might have just been because this is an older palette, but this is the Yummy in My Tummy palette, and I love it because all of the names, Adorable, Cheese Pizza, Barbecute, like the names are extremely cute and the color story is very cute, but the shades just aren't, like, I'm not saying that they perform badly by any means, like that is not performing badly. But compared to, I didn't have another makeup wipe out. Compared to all of my other Cara Beauty palettes, this palette performs the least best out of all of them. And so even though this color story is cute and the palette is adorable, I am never going to reach for this palette over any of my other Cara Beauty palettes. So, for that reason, this one's going to be decluttered. I have from ColourPop, this was in that other collection with the Ménage à Moi. This is the Boudoir Noir. I love this color story even more than the other one. I wish this had a second press glitter because the other one has two press glitters. That's just me. But, of course, I'm keeping this. There's these three that I have from Cara Beauty that just knock it out of the park. I have Flower Powers, which is just stunning. We have Peace and Lovin', which, beautiful. And my favorite, Summer Days. So keeping all three of those. And now back to this. This is the Ditto Venus palette. I got this a very long time ago in, I believe, a BoxyCharm. And it is just a very interesting, they're named after all the planets. And they're all just very pretty. Like, there are different textures. And just, they're very pretty. But it's just an interesting palette. I just don't ever use it. It's pretty to look at, it's pretty to swatch, but in reality, oh, it is so pretty to swatch. But I never wear it. I never use it. That glitter, though, of Deimos and the reds. If these are removable pans, I might take out the two shades that I want. But I also feel like that's so rude if you're going to give a palette to someone and you take out a shade or two. Let me know what you guys think about doing that. Like, do you think that it's rude to do that? To take out a shade or two that you want when you're giving a palette to someone? Because I would love to keep Venus and Deimos, the glitter and the highlight. But that's just me. I mean, I'm sure most people wouldn't mind me taking out the glitter because most people don't like glitter in palettes anyway, but should I just keep the palette all in one? Here, let's just see if they're magnetic. Anyway, I have my... Nope, they're not magnetic. So that solves that problem. So I will just be decluttering this because I'm not going to keep a palette for two shades that I think are really pretty. I'm going to finally declutter this. It is going. We're going to move on to the next set of palettes. Alright, this is the rest of my small palettes before we get into all of my ColourPop 9 pans. So we'll start with my mini retro from Natasha Denona. This will stay. I love this little guy. From Cara Beauty, this is the Bloom Into You Duo. So they're magnetic, but it's got a blue side, which is beautiful, and a purple side, which is also beautiful. And so, of course, I'm keeping it. I want the yellow and pink one that comes like this, but I just haven't bought it. Decisions. I have one Buxom palette, and these are all singles. I didn't make this. I got this secondhand in a big old thing of makeup that I got from someone, but these shades are absolutely stunning, and I love them, so it's the Dolly's Wild Side eyeshadow palette, but these are 6 singles, but I'm keeping this Buxom palette. I'm thinking. I know I want to keep this. This is the NYX El Professor palette. It was from this movie, I think, or maybe it was a TV show. I don't know. I just know that these are pressed pigments, and then this is a glitter, like a pressed, I think it's pressed glitter, or maybe it is just a shimmer. Nope, it's just a shimmer. Very pretty, but this is so pigmented and beautiful on the eyes that I really love that palette. Like, I did not expect for it to blow me out of the water like it did, but it did. Oh, let's see. What about you? I have so many other rainbow palettes, but every time, this is the NYX Ultimate Edit Brights, but every time that I do need to reach into this, I love it. I'm so happy with it. And it's small, so I think that I do still want to keep that. I do think that it's time for me to get rid of my Too Faced Sweet Peach palette, because I've been keeping it for the shade Luscious and Bless Her Heart and Peach Pit, because these shimmers are just so pretty. But the last time I used this palette, I didn't really like how the mattes looked on the lids. And the peach smell is still there, I will say that, but I don't love the color story as a whole, and I don't need to keep something for a couple shimmer shades. It's just, this has had its moment, it's had its time, it's time for this to get out of my collection. And it doesn't close correctly anymore because it's like the mirror is escaping. So, there we go. But that is leaving. So next we have, this is the e.l.f. Rose Gold Nudes. I got this as a free gift with purchase, and it is a beautiful palette, but I have to tell you, I never reach for it. But it is so pretty. Let me swatch a couple of these mattes, because these mattes do not give any depth. Ooh, that's a nice black, though. And then those are the shimmers over there. Do I want to keep it to have the e.l.f. eyeshadow formula? Do I think it's pretty enough? I'm going to need a minute with this one. So we're going to put that one in the maybes. My Maybelline Soda Pop palette. This one, I have Pan in the shade Soda Fizz that I love so much. I'm getting some hard pan and cherry on top. I love the shimmers in this palette. Let me see. Is it still swatching? She is still performing, and I love this palette, so this is one that I do want to keep. This Love Betsy palette from Betsy Johnson is a sleeper hit. Like, it just is so unassuming looking, but it really performs. So this is one that I want to keep. Okay. This Milani palette. This I got in a little holiday kit. And this, I did not hit pan on it. It did chunk out on me. But I really am into golds now. So do I keep it for that reason? Because I don't need those mattes. I have those mattes tenfold. But I have golds in other places in my collection. But those are beautiful golds. That one's a little lackluster. But these two, the light gold and this more dark, almost like bronzy gold. I feel like I need to compare these mattes to the mattes in the most loved mattes. So I'm going to do that off camera really quick, and I will be right back. Alright, so I've made my decision. I'm going to go ahead and declutter this because I don't need this. And these mattes are basically exactly the same as what's in the most loved mattes from Milani. And I have gold single shadows, so I just don't need to keep this for these two shades. So I'm going to go ahead and declutter this one as well. So now let me grab out all of my 9 pans from ColourPop. And actually, a Makeup Revolution little 9 pan? Yeah, 9 pan stuck in here. This is the Fortnite and Makeup Revolution Supply Llama palette. I actually really liked the quality on this one, and I liked the color story, so I will be keeping that. So now these are all of my ColourPop 9 pans, and we're just gonna get started on the first stack. So this is On Cloud Blue, which looks like this. We did have a little bit of breakage on this top shade here, but I do love my blue palettes. So this one is, of course, staying. Main Squeeze. This is one that I don't love. I don't love the shimmers that are in here. I don't think that they go. I don't love the assortment of reds in here. I just don't think that this screams watermelon to me, which is what this was supposed to be. And I've always wanted to declutter this one, but I was like, I don't want to break up my set of 9 pans. What if I need it? I don't need this. I'm going to finally declutter this one. And that feels good. Blue Moon, one of my originals. As you can see, I have a pan that I hit organically. I love this one, so this is staying. This is one of the ones in cardboard packaging. This is the High Tide palette, which I can't believe this is one of the ones that they decided to discontinue. Like, and of all the palettes you discontinue, why this one? But of course I'm keeping this. Oh, Mint to Be. I have learned that I do not like mint on myself. But I have recently found that I am learning to like mint, and I'm falling more in love with mint on my eye color. So I think I want to at least keep this for one more year and see if I get any use out of this. If I don't use this in the next year, period, this will be decluttered because it doesn't need to stick around if I'm not using it. It's my pleasure. I love purples. I like the lilac palette better, but this is still really gorgeous, so we're keeping that. Just My Luck, which, if we're doing greens, this is my baby, so of course we're keeping this Mary Jane shade. Beautiful. I pull that out every St. Patrick's Day. Now let's move into these ones. First we have Honey, which I'm almost done with that glitter shade. So this one I'm keeping because I love my yellow. Strawberry Shake. This is one I've also thought about decluttering. But I do, if I'm going to declutter Main Squeeze, I think I'm going to keep this one because I do like the pinks in this one better. So this is one that I will be keeping. And honestly, I might take out a shade or two of this one and replace it with one from the main squeeze, because I've never liked this shade in this palette. So I might replace this shade with one of those, but I will be keeping this palette as a whole. Cloud Spun. My Pinky Pink, I also had a casualty with that one, but love this. And in fact, I might be able to doctor up both of these with the main squeeze palette. So I'm going to put those off to the side. My Orange You Glad. I have completely panned that glitter. There's not even enough there for a use. But we're keeping that for sure. My very favorite ColourPop palette, hands down, is Lilac You A Lot. I love this palette so much. My Blow and Smoke palette, which... this is my best silver in my entire collection. Hands down. Have to keep that. I have the All Amethyst palette, which this is good. I do like it. So I'm keeping that. And then, let me get out a makeup wipe. Going Coconuts. Let's see. Do I need to keep you? Because I don't do neutrals. But I do like these shimmers. And I feel like having a one ColourPop neutral palette, I don't think is a bad idea. So I think for now I am going to go ahead and keep this. So I'm going to go ahead and go off camera and doctor these ones up, but I am still going to just be decluttering that main squeeze palette. And yeah, we will start on the second bin, because I have a whole second bin that is just as full. So we will be back in just a minute. All right, so as you can see, this bin is full of my bigger, bulkier palettes. So we have less palettes, but bigger palettes. But I don't think we'll be getting rid of as much, but I'm here to see what we have. So let's just get started with some things we're keeping. This is the Glamlight and Hershey Kisses from their first collection, and this is the Special Dark, which is the purple one. I only have this one. I think it's Lava Cake, the pink one from this collab, but I'm keeping this. I really enjoy this palette. Let's just put that there for now. This is my Jeffree Star Bloodlust palette, which looks like this. It is pinky purples, beautifulness. It's got this beautiful like teal. I don't think that this red belongs personally, but I do really like this palette. I love the velvet gaudiness of this packaging, so this is absolutely going to be a keep. Let's just move those out of the way. Now we have this little stack. We have the Glamlight Cherry Icy, which I just got this from Marshall's. That is a keep, which let's just get to the other one. The Blue Raspberry Icy. That is a keep. The ColourPop Powerpuff Girls palette. This is a keep. I haven't used that yet. Makeup a Murder Burner Phone palette. If you're looking for pigmented pastels, this is it. I got rid of my Natasha Denona pastel palette because I have this. Because this is what pastels should be. So, keeping this. These two are new to me. This is the ColourPop Lust for Dusk palette. So this is the color story. I haven't used this yet, so definitely keeping that. And then this is the Delancey palette. This is the Gray Smoky, which looks like this. And I haven't used this yet either. So, of course, we're keeping that. These are going to also be a lot of my brand new palettes as well, because I just throw them in this bin. So, let me go ahead and grab another stack. I have a couple smaller palettes here. So, we have the Urban Decay Naked Robin Eisenberg palette, which looks like this. I did like this the one time that I used it, and I do want to get a little more use on this before decluttering it, so I am going to keep that. The ABH Riviera palette, I loved this when I used it, so that's not going anywhere. This is an Ofra and Francesca Tollett, probably horribly mispronouncing her name, but this is the Infinite palette, which looks like this. I am keeping that. My brand new Natasha Denona Yucca palette, which of course looks like this. I have not used this yet. We are keeping. I figured we would get all of the Jeffree Star trunks out of the way. So if I was going to declutter any of them, it would be this one. Because... So this is the anniversary one for Blood Sugar that came out in the white packaging instead of the red. Tell me, here, let me get the whole palette in the frame there. Tell me that that's not just a neutral palette with a pop. Like, yes, we have pink and purple with some reds. But, like, this whole row is neutrals, plus these are neutrals, that's a neutral. Half of this palette is neutrals. And I hate that. I hate that about this palette. We have like one true red, a slightly darker red. Like this palette is more pink and berry than red. And that bothers me so much. I don't think that the quality on this one is as good as any of my other Jeffree Star palettes. So if I was going to declutter any of them, it would be this one. But that day is not today. So I digress. I also have Pink Religion, which looks like this. I do really enjoy this palette. I also am a sucker for this packaging. I have the Shane Dawson Conspiracy palette. Just trying to get it open for you so that I can show you. I love this funky color story. I like this red. This yellow is my favorite yellow, probably in my entire collection. I just love it so much. So, there's that. And then probably my favorite Jeffree Star palette is Blood Money, which is, of course, the green palette. Because this one is just beautiful. So, none of those are going anywhere, but I thought we would just get the trunks out of the way because they just take up a lot of real estate. So I will grab another pile. Alright, now we have my smaller palettes that are in this basket before we get into my last 5 that are big palettes. If I'm going to declutter any of them, it's going to be from this stack. So, first we have my other all matte palette that I was talking about. This is my Lash Step Matte About You, which in my opinion, here, let me show it to you a little bit better, is a dupe for the Makeup by Mario Master Mattes. This is a beautiful all matte palette. Just absolutely stunning. Matte white, matte black, neutrals in between. Keeping this. And I got this on clearance at my Walmart for $2. And it is just gorgeous. I don't know why this isn't with the rest of my ColourPop palettes. I have 2 ColourPop palettes that are in this that are 9 pans, and that bothers the ever-loving crap out of me. But this is the So Fly palette. I bought this because it's an interesting color story. And that is why I've kept it. So let me swatch those shades. But should an interesting color story. This FYI shade is really pretty. But I always, like, the mattes are just neutrals. And I feel like I already kept ColourPop neutrals in the Going Coconuts palette. And I have teals in, so like the only thing that I would really want to keep is maybe this shade, but I don't need it, but I really want to keep the duochrome. So I would need to find a palette that has this size pans to maybe declutter this. So this one's a maybe. A possibly. This is from Trend Beauty. This is the Mosaic palette. I got this in an Ipsy or BoxyCharm. And I gotta tell you, all I've done is swatch it. And it does swatch very pretty. Like for a lilac, and that's a beautiful blue. But we have 2 rows of neutrals and then this row of colors. And I just don't think that even though this swatch is pretty, that I need to keep this palette. So I'm going to go ahead and declutter this one. My Ace Beauté Tropical Vibes looks like this. This is going nowhere. I absolutely love this palette. Cab Cosmetics. So this is the Day and Night palette, which I absolutely love. And I do, here, let me get these swatches off my hand. I do still have that quad from earlier. So let's see. I mean, we don't have exact shades, but I don't need this quad. So this is the Naked quad. I can go ahead and declutter this and just keep the Day and Night palette because I know I like their formula and I'm just going to keep this big palette. I don't really use quads anyway. I just got those as points perks from Ipsy. This is another Makeup Revolution. This is the Beetlejuice I Myself Am Strange and Unusual 9-pan. This is a really nice formula. Like, these are pressed pigment level formula. I really like this. I'm definitely keeping that. From ABH, these are the mini Norvina palettes. This is volume 1. I am keeping this. And I have volume 2. I wish I could find volume 3 at like Marshall's or TJ Maxx, but I haven't been able to find volume 3. But I'm keeping both of those because I do really like these. I have Baroque. I do like this palette now, so I will be keeping this. From Violet Voss, this is Sun-Kissed Summer. I'm going to go ahead and keep this. This is a really nice palette. And like I've said before, I love the Violet Voss formula. And from Luna Magic, this is the Uno palette. And I did really like this formula. So I do want to keep this for now. So let me just grab out my big palettes that are left. All right, so we have 3 here that are more mid-sized and then 2 that are big. This is the Morphe and Avani Gregg for the Bebs. And it's got 4 rows of shadows, and then both of these rows are hydro liners, which I very much apparently need to clean this palette up from when I used it last. Didn't realize that it needed cleaned. So sorry. But I have used the hydro liners and they're very nice. I did really enjoy them. I haven't used the eyeshadows. So for now, this is a palette I do want to keep. I do like having these as options in my collection. So this is something that I want. So yes, that is staying. My Jeffree Star Jawbreaker palette is my rainbow palette from his formula that I will be keeping. I do really like this palette, so that is staying. And my Pat McGrath Celestial Nirvana palette that looks like this. I do think, like, the shimmers are where it's at. I think the mattes are a little patchy, personally. But I do love this palette, and it's the only eyeshadow I have from Pat McGrath. So, of course, I would never get rid of that. And let me just grab my two really big ones. And then I almost forgot. I have two palettes that are in projects that are in a separate bin. So this is the Lovecraft Beauty Eyeshadow Trio. This will be staying because it's currently in a project. And this is my Milani Smoky Face and Eye palette. So I do have 3 eyeshadows here that are counted in my eyeshadows. So those will be staying. And my 2 mega palettes from Profusion. So the first one I have is my Kaleidoscope palette, which hopefully I'm getting, yeah, there we go. The whole thing on screen there. I absolutely adore this palette. There is only one shade, which is this green right here in the shade Fern, that goes on a little patchy. Otherwise, I have personally tested every single shade in this palette, and it's wonderful. If you need a rainbow palette, this is, personally, in my opinion, the best rainbow palette for the price. This is going absolutely nowhere. I adore it. And because I loved that one so much, I had friends that said, you need to get the Moonstone palette because that is the go-to neutral palette, which I love that I have these glitters. And this is just the same great formula, but I have to tell you, I don't wear neutrals. And I love having this because it is any neutral that I could ever need, but I'm never gonna need these. So as much as I want to keep this, and I feel like I should, and I'm so torn, because I love having this row of beautiful glitters. I could use these as bronzers or blushes. I have these beautiful silvery whites and blacks. I'm going to keep this for one more year. If I don't use this in the next year it'll be decluttered. Because I love Profusion's formula so much. I don't want to declutter this yet. So we are now going to go to Face for an outro. And I will tell you guys totals. So I will see you there. All right, so you have now, if you stuck through that, I appreciate you because I know that was an extremely long video. But I want to go over, let me grab my little bin of what we decluttered. Because I just want to round up and just count them out one more time for me. So I have the Milani We Did Something, the Ditto Venus, the Beauty Creations Cali Chic, Trend Beauty Mosaic, the CoverGirl True Naked That's Rad, Too Faced Sweet Peach, the e.l.f. Rose Gold Nude, the Wing Me Ambitious Violet, Cara Beauty Yummy in My Tummy, Makeup Revolution Forever Flawless Ice and Forever Flawless Chilled. I have the Cab Beauty Quads in Naked and Deep Smoke. I have a Beauty Vault Quad. This is the Plum palette. And then I am actually decluttering 3 ColourPop palettes. And I did want to show you these because I did move some shadows around. So I did take out the shade FYI from the Sophia palette, and I took out this purple shade from my all amethyst palette because that was the only other palette that had this size pans. So, because this purple shade just was hard panned. I couldn't really get a swatch on it, and I really wanted to keep this duochrome from this palette. So this is what this palette now looks like, and I'm decluttering it. So this one's going. I am decluttering Baby Got Peach, and I didn't take any shades from this palette, so she is completely intact. I thought about the glitter, but I was like, that's the whole reason you're decluttering it, is because you didn't need the glitter. It's fine. So Baby Got Peach is going. And then I actually took a couple shades from Main Squeeze, surprisingly enough. I took the shades Maraschino in the center. It was a shimmer. And I put these into the Strawberry Shake palette. So I switched this out for this matte. And then I took the shades Big Gulp and Red Bottoms. So these three shades got switched out into Strawberry Shake, and then I put Red Bottoms into the Cloud Spun palette. So this shade went into the Cloud Spun palette, and these two shades went into the Strawberry Shake palette. And I still think that this actually looks fine, the way that this one looks. But, so, that is everything. So let's count it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 palettes is what we're decluttering. And I feel really happy about that. So if you made it through all of this, I appreciate you. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.